Does that matter?
I think it said the broadcast is live, so I think people are seeing this.
Oh. Alejandro, are we live?
It looks like it. We've been live for 17 seconds.
Yes, you're live. Go.
Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ethan Skolnick here for the latest episode of 305 Live. Very professional. I'm doing this from Alphonse. He's over there. Paris Thompson wearing the hat, not in the apartment right now. If you don't know these guys.
Company man, baby. Company man.
I like that. I should be wearing the damn hat with my hairline. So if you don't know these two guys, they're both on Light Skinned Opinions on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Alf, of course, is a co-host with me on the 5 on the Floor podcast, Miami Heat. We're actually going to be putting out 3 episodes this week. Over the next 2 weeks, we'll be doing the 5 major issues for the Miami Heat. And the first one tonight, which we're going to post overnight, is about the point guard position and whether it should be Justice Winslow or Goran Dragic. But anyway, today we're going to talk football with these two guys. And so we've been doing a lot of Dolphins lately, and Parrish had an opinion on this, so we brought him on. Alf has an opinion on everything. So we're gonna get right to it. And here's the topic. We're not talking about tanking per se today, although I'm sure that will come up. When should Josh Rosen be the starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, at least until they get to Tua? I'm going to give a brief soliloquy on this. I'm not going to agree with Parrish. I'm just telling you because I know what Parrish's opinion is on this.
You know my opinion already? Okay.
I've heard a little of it beforehand. I think Josh Rosen should have been starting the first game of the season. That's where I come down on this. I don't know why you're waiting with Fitzmagic. I don't even care if he's good, not good, whatever. He's 37 years old. There's no point to it. You traded a second-round pick for this guy. If he can't call things out at the line, okay, then let him fail on the job. If you're worried about him with the offensive line that they're dealing with, let's see if he can overcome it. But I'm tired of babying him. But anyway, with that, I'm going to go to Paris Thompson.
That's fair. I agree with everything you're saying. My opinion is he should at least start the final 8 games. If he doesn't, I agree with you, he probably should be starting and playing right now. There's no reason not to, really. But if you're going to let Fitzmagic play for the first 8 games, why not? Just to, he's a vet. Let him get in there, make his little money. You paid him, let him make some money, and then. Since we're evaluating everybody anyway, let's evaluate him. If we can get something for him, let's get something for Fitzmagic I'm talking about. And then the last 8 games of the season, let Rosen go and see what he can do. By that time, we should have established all the people that don't want to be here anymore, like Minka, because I get it. The veterans, people that actually have some talent, they don't want to be a part of this whole rebuilding thing. So let them
people
go.
that actually have some talent.
Let them go. Let the people that actually got
which is like 4 of them, Paris, at
let
this
them
point.
go mix. And they're gone. Like letting Laramie Tunsil go kind of hurt because I liked him. He's a good player, but like, what do we have in protecting Fitzmagic and Fitzpatrick? Let me call him his real name, Fitzpatrick. And
there ain't been any magic lately, Parrish. But Parrish, here's the thing. Before I go to Alf on this, I mean, you talk about evaluating him. I mean, he's started for 8 different teams. I mean, there's no evaluation of Fitzmagic going on right now, except him evaluating whether he's going to die on the field. I mean, if our Josh Houts was out there before the game taking video, I don't know how he got down there, and he took a video of
0-16. Like, I don't want to be the 0-6 team. Like, there's only been one 0-16 team. There's also been only one 17-0 team. That's us, and I don't want to be on the reverse. So if we can scrape out 1, maybe 2 wins on the season, I'm all for it. Like, I agree with you. We should probably let Rosens play, and I think he should get in at the very least the last 8 games. But let's try to scrape out a win or 2 while we can and have a little dignity.
All right, I'm going to go to Alf here. But what I was saying about Fitzpatrick, he was kissing his family goodbye before he went out to the field, as if he was going off to war and was not coming back. And it was pretty. It was pretty close to that. Alf, when should Josh Rosen be starting?
Josh Rosen should have started the first game, right? But now that he hasn't started a game, do not put that young man out there to die. Like, to die for what? It doesn't make sense anymore. Like, they are historically bad. The offensive line is putrid. The entire offense is putrid. The entire team. I mean, there's some saving graces on their defense. I mean, but they've also gave up 398 points in the first 2 weeks. So at this point, if you're going to embrace a tank, just embrace the suck. Like, just suck. And you know how you embrace suck? Start Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick will get you to 0-16. Josh Rosen has actually looked adequate when he games. I don't know. Everyone's talking about how he performs in practice. I could really give a shit how the guy performs in practice, because apparently Ryan Fitzpatrick is a fucking practice genius, right? He's awesome at practice, but he sucks in the game. So listen, if you want to be as bad as possible, and I think I've pissed off every Dolphins fan on my timeline. I've lost like 30 followers in the last couple of days because I'm anti-tank. I don't think leagues should reward tanking. I don't think you have to be this bad to improve your team. But at this point, if this is what you want to do, then go all out. Start Ryan Fitzpatrick for 16 games or until he actually dies, right? And then if he's dead, then bring in Josh Rosen. There's absolutely no.
What do we bring Rosen in for if we're not going to play him? Like, I think play him.
Now that's a great question. Mm-hmm. What was the point of bringing Rosen in? What was the point of talking about trading for Jadeveon Clowney? What was the point of a lot of what they've done? And that's one of the biggest problems I have with the whole thing. It doesn't look like they have any kind of direction, and that's the thing with the Dolphins. Like now they're just like, okay, we suck. We're going to really, really suck. So that's like the closest thing to direction they've had. But why? Yes, why did you trade a second-round pick for Josh Rosen? Why were you thinking to bring in Jadeveon Clowney? It's just stupid.
Give me some insight. You got some insight, man.
Well, I mean, let's start with the Josh Rosen thing. And this is what's concerning to me about it, is that was a Chris Greer decision. And I didn't have a problem with it at the time, guys, because basically you really weren't giving up very much. I mean, essentially the way that you ended up getting back a future second-rounders, he basically flipped a fourth. So I didn't have an issue with them doing it. But my problem was in evaluation. If Chris Greer has already decided, or this organization has already decided that Josh Rosen isn't the guy, and it took that long, then why were you trading for him at that point? And what is the point? Is he a long-term backup? Is he someone that's going to compete with Tua or Herbert or Love or one of the other quarterbacks you bring in? And how are you going to know if he doesn't play at all this season? And let me throw this one to you, because both of you have kind of raised this, and I just think this is the stupidest point that's been made by everybody on Twitter, is this idea that you don't want to put Rosen out there because it's a bad offensive line. I mean, when is it going to be a good offensive line? 2021? I mean, how far away are they from that, right? I mean, 2023, I mean, this team can't evaluate offensive linemen. And the one guy that they hit on basically because he had a bond the night of the draft and he slipped to them. I mean, and that's it. I mean, they haven't been able to find offensive linemen in years. The other one they hit on was 2008, and they should have taken a quarterback. So I would ask this. Do you this narrative that you can't play Josh Rosen because it's not fair to him behind this offensive line, do you think they're babying him? Like, if he's the guy, put him out there. He threw 2 dimes on Sunday. They were both dropped by Jakeem Grant and Preston Williams. But it seems to me like he's made something out of nothing a couple times. So why are we so afraid? Why are we treating him like he's a 3-year-old?
I mean, that's a good question. I can't answer that one. That sounds like some investigation reporting. We need some reporting on that. But I do kind of understand. Like, I don't know if that was a true stat where the Dolphins aren't going to let Fitzpatrick get to his incentives. Like, I mean, it's good business, I guess, but that's kind of lame. But I just think they're reviewing everybody. They're just letting everybody that they brought in, they're just letting them go play, and then we'll see what happens next year.
But you know what the problem is? They're not reviewing everybody. That's the thing. Like, there's no review needed to be had about Ryan Fitzpatrick anymore, right? The fact that not Greer, what's the Flores? I don't even care anymore. But the fact that Flores says that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to start on Sunday, it just shows you it's not about evaluation. It's about it being as bad as humanly possible, and that's what really bothers me.
I don't think so, though, because why send Rosen out there to get killed? Like you said, like there's no point in getting a young guy.
But Parrish, this is football.
What's the score? We've lost 93 to nothing. Like
102 to 10, Parrish. 102 to 10.
So you're going to draft a guy that you think is scoring. Okay, your next franchise quarterback. You're going to draft a guy, I don't know how to say his last name. I'm not going to try. Tua Tank, whatever his name is.
Buy the T-shirt. It's on the website.
Buy the
FiveReasonsSports.com.
So you're going to bring this guy in with a terrible offensive line, and you're going to throw him out there and not Josh Rosen? Like, listen, the whole idea that you don't want to put Josh Rosen in danger, it's motherfucking football, all right? Everyone's in danger. Everyone's in danger all the time. He's a football player. If he wants to play, he needs to get out there. But that is not what they're doing. It's not about protecting Josh Rosen. It's about playing the worst player possible. That is the entire thing, and that's why I hate what they're doing. But if that's what you're going to do, go 10 toes in. start for Ryan Fitzpatrick, and if he dies, do a weekend of Bernie situation, tie his ass to the center's back, and just keep throwing him out there. Like, there's no point now in trying to play players who you actually think have promise and might be able to put points on the board, because you might have a Greg Camarillo situation and they pull out a game, and that's probably the worst thing that could happen to the team this year.
Winning one game is not the worst thing that can happen. Like, we're still going to be.
There's going to be some bad teams this year, brother.
Well, yeah, that is. I mean, Paris, that is a bit of a concern right now. I mean, if you look at the league, right? I mean, some of the teams that are 0-2 have a chance to be 2-14 or somewhere around there. Like, winning 2 games may risk the whole thing. If that's what you're going for, I'm anti-tank in general. Okay, I mean, I believe in what the
harder.
Right, right. I mean, that's okay. I mean, we're getting some comments in here. There are rumors the Dolphins are not drafting a quarterback this year, and they may not be. They may be tanking for Lawrence. Okay, that's 2 years out. Or maybe Tua stays in school, or he forces the Dolphins' hand, kind of like Eli Manning did or John Elway did way back when, and doesn't want to play for this team. I mean, so we'll see what happens there. But if you're trying to get the number 1 pick, and remember, it's not just the number 1 pick in the first round. It's also the number 1 pick in the second round, the number 1 pick in the third round, etc. Winning 2 games, if that's what their goal is, winning 2 games may be too many. If you look at the Bengals, I think the Bengals have more overall talent, but they clearly want a quarterback. Your Giants, Alf, I mean, are they committed?
Got Danny Jones.
Is ownership going to be committed to him if they got a chance at Tua? I mean, was Arizona ownership committed to Rosen when they had a chance at Kyler Murray, who's not as good as Tua?
The Giants are trying to win. That's
right.
Like, they're trying to win games, which is terrible. I mean. But yeah, if the Giants get if somehow the Giants get the number 1 pick, I would honestly, I think they really do like Daniel Jones. I like Daniel Jones, whatever. I've seen him in a couple preseason games, and everyone's mad about picking him because nobody knows shit about the draft. But anyway, that's a whole other episode. But if the Giants have a chance at Tua, they're gonna go. Maybe they go for it, they trade back. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think you can win 2 games this year and guarantee yourself the number 1 pick. There's going to be a lot of bad teams.
I don't think that we have to try that hard at this point to lose games. I just want to scrape one out. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to eke a game out.
Okay, Paris, you watched the first 2 games,
I know.
And you're confident that this team is going to. This team.
But that's what I'm saying. What are you upset? Why not?
But this is not just the worst team. Look, I said after week 1 that this would be the worst team in South Florida sports history other than the expansion teams. And I don't think there's any question. They're going to be worse than the 2007 Dolphins, which were competitive most games. They're going to be worse than the 2007-08 Heat, a team that did not go into the year planning the tank, but then did when Dwayne and everybody else got hurt and Shaq was traded. They're going to be worse than the Marlins in 98, than the Marlins this season. This is the worst team South Florida sports has ever seen. But they may also be the worst team in NFL history. They have a chance. If you look at them through the first 2 games, they're literally setting every record. Like, you have to go back to like the 1890s.
Don't say that, man. Like,
they are going to be the worst. I mean, there is, and here's the thing: some of the guys haven't quit yet, Parrish. Like, wait till some of they quit.
Ethan thinks they're worse than leather helmet football.
I mean, did you watch that? Like, I mean, have you watched that the first 2 weeks, man?
Ethan's like there were teams full of white guys in the 50s.
That's why Fitzpatrick's got to get out there and earn some money, man. If you're gonna pay him, you might as well let him earn 8 games, man. We're gonna be that bad. Like, I
love this comment from Showtime MIA. We are not gonna win the Super Bowl. Could you imagine if they go 0-16 and they're hosting the game this year?
Hosting the game.
They're hosting the game this year.
0-16 this year.
It's remarkable. All right, I want to ask both of you guys because both of you follow the NBA, and we talked about this a little on another episode. But we'll close with this. The one thing on tanking, the NBA has a draft lottery. Alf, you have very definite opinions about the draft lottery in the NBA. You think it's just be free agency for the draft. I agree with you. Okay, that's a more drastic step, right? Where players basically if you have a good organization and you have money under the cap, you recruit a college player to come play for you, right? And I agree with that. I know the draft is great entertainment, but I don't believe in the draft. I don't think players should be drafted to a place they may not necessarily want to go to. And I don't think some organizations deserve to get the best players, okay? But in the NFL, what step would you take? Because currently there's not even a lottery. I think that the NFL should go to a short lottery, and maybe it's just the 5 worst teams, okay? Just the 5 worst teams in the lottery, and at least that way you're not guaranteed because there's only 16 games, man. People spend a lot of money to go to these games. These games are precious. You got 8 at home. If you're tanking every single one of them to be the worst team, as the Dolphins are trying to do this year, you are making sure you are bad every single week. It's not like the NBA where you got 82 to play it out. You can win a few games and it's okay. In the NFL, you win 2, you screw yourself and then 1 pick. I think they should go to a draft lottery, 5 worst teams, throw them in there, and then at least the Dolphins might be in a position where if they're doing this, they might end up with the 5th pick, okay? And maybe it would discourage them from doing it again. What do you think that they should do?
Sports.
So,
No,
I saw that too. Well, he likes tanking. But anyway, Parrish, you go first.
So what do I think they should do to change the draft? I guess change the incentive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's really anything you can do about tanking, to be honest with you, man. Like I think there should be a reward unless you relegate teams like they do in soccer, which I'm not completely against. Just kick teams out of the league if they're that bad. But I think there should be some sort of reward, for being the last team in the league, being last place. So I'm not 100% against the way the system is now, which I guess doesn't make for much of an argument unless Alphonse, which I know he is. He just wants to burn the whole bridge down.
I know. The only time in this country that we embrace socialism is in our professional sports, which are supposed to be the height of meritocracy and competition. And somehow that's where we say, hey, sorry ass Dolphins, hey, sorry ass Browns, hey, sorry ass Sixers. Let's get you a higher draft pick. Let's get you the best college player available. Let's keep helping you get better because you obviously can't run your own company, your own franchise. Only time we do it, except for the auto industry and the banks. But that's a whole other that's on a life.
We just give them money.
But yeah, we just give them tax breaks and bailouts. Right. But what I mean, professional sports are supposed to be about a meritocracy, about competition. To reward bad teams for being bad is the antithesis of what we're trying to do here. So and the same teams are always bad. So guess what? It's not working. Like we can pick all the outliers. Like we can pick the Cubs in Major League Baseball. We can talk about the Sixers, but what did the Sixers actually won? The Sixers haven't done anything. The Sixers are just second round knockouts every year. They were that before they started tanking, right? So
where the Sixers were at to where the Sixers are at now is pretty.
Paris, before the Sixers started tanking, they were a second round exit team. They started tanking. They got these number 1 picks. They missed on 3 out of 5 first round picks.
What year are you talking about? Sixers made it to the finals after the Iverson years. After Iverson,
no, we're talking about the year.
He's talking about they lost to the Heat in the first round, the first year of the Big Three, which was 2011, right? And then the next year, but that was mostly Alf because Rose got hurt, right? They made it to the second round. They beat Chicago, but they did get to the second round with a team that had what? Iguodala, Lou Williams, Drew Holiday. I mean, it was a pretty decent team, but didn't have a star. And they dumped everybody. They went total tank.
And they went into the tank, and they missed on 3 out of 5 first round picks.
Yeah, Noel, Okafor, and Fultz, right?
Jokes, yes.
I'm sorry, even another one, Michael Carter-Williams.
Carter Williams, right.
4 first round picks. So we kept rewarding them for sucking year after year after year. And now finally they hit on 2 guys that basically play the same position, and they decided to pay Tobias Harris a shitload of money. Mm-hmm. So hopefully maybe they make the Eastern Conference Finals. But my whole point is this. We continue to reward these bad teams. How many good draft picks had the Cleveland Browns gotten? All of a sudden now the Cleveland Browns are the poster child for tanking. No, what happened is, and I still don't even know if the Browns are good, but the Browns have better management than they used to. It's not about tanking. Right. So stop rewarding this shit. Reward teams.
I wouldn't necessarily label what the they're my team, I know, but I wouldn't necessarily call what the Dolphins doing tanking.
Okay, brother, come on. No, you're not going to do this rebuilding shit.
Come on, man. Let's
purposely playing
Paris, they're tanking. I mean, I think that they were playing the rebuild card beforehand, but in the week before the season, after all the season tickets are locked in, and then you basically dumped, what was it, something like 26% of your roster right before the season started, where guys didn't, as RCK at Free as Carey says, like guys didn't know what their parking spots were. Like, and they're all showing up to play on an offensive line together. Look, I get it with the Tunsil pick, the Tunsil trade. It was too much for them to pass on, okay, that kind of asset collection. but they're tanking. I mean, I don't think
But I
the
mean, are we
product that
not
they're
supposed to? Now, again, the Sixers are an extreme case. I'm not defending the Sixers because I don't like what they did. But in Miami's case, are we not supposed to rebuild? Like Miami is the antithesis of. They talk about the Cowboys being mediocre for the past 20 years. Miami's been mediocre since. I mean, really since the last year of Marino. Even those last couple of years of Marino, like there was really no. We made the playoffs, but we wasn't really. We were always wild card.
I've said it over and over. In my opinion, the Dolphins are doing the smart thing, right? They're doing what they should do, right? They're taking advantage of the system in place. So that is my initial caveat. I want everyone to understand this, that yes, I do think the Dolphins are smart to tank. Now, secondly, or in rebuttal to that, you should not have to tank to put together a competent roster. There's a lot of NFL teams that have never tanked, that make playoffs year after year and continue to get better every year because the NFL draft is 6 rounds deep. There's tons of players. Alvin Kamara, I was just looking at, I think it was a 3rd or 4th round pick. There are guys all over the draft every single year. If you have a competent front office, you will never have to tank.
So
that's the problem. And lastly, I just don't think
the question though. By the way, my brother,
what's that?
Like, what do you want there? What change do you want? You just want to be just random, like a random lottery, just whoever gets the first pick gets the first pick.
If I had my druthers, if it was up to me, it'd be just free agency, right? I was
Alf, that shit would get crazy in the NFL. I mean, in the NBA, sure, you're talking about like 40 prospects, right? But
you still have
in the NFL, you're talking. I mean, how many guys are coming to the draft? You said yourself, you got 7 rounds of the draft, right? Plus compensatory picks. So you're looking at about 250 picks every year. I mean, it would be fun as hell to cover. Okay, we'd be seeing who was going in and out of the Dolphins facility. But I don't know that you could do 250 players with free agency. I just think they need to tweak it. I think this idea that the Dolphins, anything that's winning a game, we're going to eliminate that. Like, that is too much. Like that, and the Sixers to a certain extent did that too. It's like, but at least with the Sixers, I can kind of get it because I know Dolphin fans are going to push back at me and say, well, if you get the quarterback, it's like getting the star in the NBA. I understand that. But in the NBA, I mean, you really are talking about 2 guys change your total franchise. Just change it, right? If you hit on 2 of those picks.
That's also my point, though, is that they got it wrong. Tanking doesn't necessarily guarantee you anything. It doesn't guarantee you anything. Look at the Sixers. The Sixers got it wrong so many times in a row. Like, and they kept tanking. But at that point, it's up to the fans to just stop paying for seats and stop going. But it's not. I don't blame the team necessarily for tanking. I don't think what the Dolphins doing is wrong. If they do it now 5 years from now, if we're still talking about the Dolphins tanking, yeah, they're fucking up. But for this season, like, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm good.
Now, okay, and I want to address somebody saying the free agents will only go to big market teams, which is the dumbest thing I keep hearing over and over again. Nobody goes to the Knicks. Until LeBron went, nobody was going to the Lakers. Nobody goes to the Bulls. Nobody is rushing to go play in New York in the winter for football. Like, stop. It's just like, stop with the nonsense of people are only going to go to big market teams. We just said there will be 250 free agents. You think the Giants can afford all of them? You think the Cowboys can afford all of them? You're still going to have a salary cap. I still think you should have a rookie wage scale. I know a lot of people don't agree with me on that, who do believe in the whole free agency thing. I do believe in salary caps. I do believe in rookie wage scales. Like, don't come out here and paying Zion $45 million. Okay? I don't want to say any of that shit. But there's no way that if you open up free agency for kids coming out of college, that they're only going to go to big market teams. It's just asinine. There's not enough roster spots. There's still vets there. Like, it's just so stupid.
But Alf, I agree with you about that. But I also think there aren't enough months in the year, though, for teams to recruit all the players that are available. That's all I'm saying. It's a logistical problem. It's not that I think that they're all going to end up in New York. It's just, I mean, think about it. NBA free agency, when we're talking about, you and I had trouble getting this.
He wants chaos.
He wants total chaos. Like, NBA free agency, like you and I talked about the 2020 free agent class in the NBA, there's not 6 guys worth a damn, right? And that shit's still going to take 2 weeks, okay? Because it always does up through the moratorium. I don't think you can totally flood the system like that in the NFL. But I do think you need to put in something, and I think they will, honestly. I think the Dolphins are going to cause this. I think they're going to be so bad that I think that the NFL, which moves slower than the NBA about everything, the NBA is progressive, the NFL is backwards, okay? Always has been about everything, all right? But I think that the Dolphins are going to be so bad, all right? I mean, they're worse than I expected, and I thought they'd be horrible. I was throwing it out there that they were going to be a team that allowed twice as many sacks as they got. They might allow 10 times as many sacks as they get this year. They might not get to 10 sacks, and they might allow 80. Okay? I mean, that's where we are with this team. I mean, look at the numbers this year.
I agree with you. They're bad.
It's not even bad, Parrish. It's historic. I mean, we're witnessing history.
What do you want me to say? Awful? What word would you like?
I mean, they're. I mean, my question to both of you guys. Let's close with this. They've got a road game in Dallas. They're 20.5-point underdogs opening up. 20.5. Okay, thank you, by the way, for letting me get in.
Have we scored any points yet? Or have we scored any points?
10, yes, 10 against Baltimore. So they're 20.5-point underdogs, Parrish. They come in here the week after against a good Chargers team. Not a great team, but a good Chargers team. But a fan base that doesn't travel. I mean, they don't even know that the team's in LA yet. Like, they still think it's in San Diego. The people down there in Southern California.
Me too.
There's going to be nobody in that stadium in 2 weeks. I mean, nobody in that stadium. So how much worse does this get with the fans? Because on 5 Reasons Sports, about 70% of people are against me. They are all polling that they're good with the tank and I should shut the bleep up. But I don't think that the general fan is. Alf and I have talked about this. Not everybody is on Twitter. Not everybody's paying attention to every move that's going on. They just show up at the stadium and they see suck. Okay? And they want to know why, and they're going to blame Brian Flores for it. How much worse do you think this will get with the fan base, guys? And we'll finish.
I think it could get terrible with the fan base, but I do think that for a 1-year tank job, people are okay with it because this is the system. There is a system set up, and you work within the system. Now, if we pull a 76ers and, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons, we're still talking about we're tanking for whoever is the top QB in college at that time. Yeah, we're messing around. But I think the general fan is okay with, hey, we're bad for a season. Now, I don't want to go 0-16. Like, please, God, don't let us go 0-16. But I'm okay with having a bad season. We having a losing season. Like like we've been having losing seasons. Like, what, 10-6 is the best we've been in the last 15 years. So, and we're usually 8-8, 7-9. Now, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm okay with having a losing season if we're really working towards something. If we really got a plan, and it looks like we got a plan. I trust Flores. He's new. Like, I knew this going in. I knew this as soon as we hired Flores. It's like everybody's under. Everybody can be cut. Everybody's subject to get it. It's the Game of Thrones. We're in the Game of Thrones. Anybody can get it at any time.
It's the Aqua wedding right now is what we've got, basically. They're just chopping off heads. That's who start doing it at this stadium. There's going to be 12 people that are witnesses, so nobody's going to go to jail.
I'm okay with this for a year. So I think that most Dolphin fans are okay with this for a year. We just don't want to go 0-16.
Alf, you're not a Dolphin fan, but you've seen 2 Giants Super Bowls recently, and then they've kind of receded here in recent years. How bad? I'll just let you finish here in 30 seconds. How bad does this get down here?
I think you're going to see empty stadiums. I'm talking about Hurricanes, Bethune-Cookman level. Like, I think it's going to get really bad. And unless miraculously, like, they start winning, which isn't going to happen. So, yeah, it's going to get – the stadium's going to be empty. The fan base is going to get dejected. But, man, if they go in and they draft Tua number 1, everybody's going to be back. We're an event town, star town. Tua is going to be the biggest thing since sliced bread. And then next year, since there's no offensive line, he's going to die.
But that's what we're doing this for. Now we got to build with the rest through the draft. Like, we're doing this for Tua. So if we get to, even though I want Lawrence personally, but that's 2 years away. I'm not trying to wait 2 years. So if we get Tua, it's all been worth it.
All right, that's Alf Sidney. That's Parrish Thompson. Listen to my light-skinned opinions. Also listen to Alf with me on 5 on the Floor, the team that does not tank unless Dwayne gets hurt. Then they used to tank. That's it. Well, they tanked twice, kind of. Well, they tanked to get Dwayne, and then they tanked when Dwayne got hurt. But
when can I come on that show?
They tell you. We'll bring you on there anytime. But I think Maddox has first dibs on that one. We'll bring Parrish on. So follow him. Could you please, Parrish, give out what your new Twitter handle is, since nobody knows what the hell it is?
Dark Skin Producer. Can they see it? DARKSKN Producer. Dark Skin Producer. Is that hard? I didn't know.
Ethan was just scared to say it. Ethan was just scared to say it.
I can't say it. Alf can say it. I can't say it.
Right.
You know how that works. That's all right. We
You can
got
say
plenty.
it. I give you the pass. You can say it.
We got plenty of Jews on the network too, and we have a Drew Brees T-shirt on the website. All right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow, I think.
Cool. Peace.